Welcome back to our mobile news unit. We are here in Alberta still. So we're bringing to you some breaking news, though, just south of us in the USA. We'll take a look at this on the display here. So yes, we're looking we're looking at Thurston County. So if you don't know where that is, it's we're in the USA here. Get out of this. So you see we're in the USA, Canada, just in Washington here. So it's just south of Seattle, Thurston County. Thurston County is a county located in the U.S. state of Washington. As of 2020 census, the population was around 300,000. And the county seat and largest city is Olympia, the state capital. And Thurston County was created out of Lewis County by the government of Oregon Territory on January 12, 1852. So what's happened in this county will blow your mind. Blew my mind when I was looking at this. It just came out. This is a serial arsonist. He was sentenced to prison for attacks on kingdom halls in the Thurston County. Now this is recent news. This is October 18th, 2024. October 18th. So this was yesterday. This came out. We're going to look at the news clip. It's very short, but I want to go through it. I find that they talk a little bit fast. So here it is, the Thurston County, the man who admitted to torching and shooting at kingdom halls of Jehovah's Witnesses in 2018 will spend 11 years in federal prison, a judge ruled Friday afternoon. Mike Diamond, Starrett, 52, of Olympia, apologized during his sentence hearing in the U.S. District Court in Tacoma while acknowledging the impact his actions had on the Jehovah's Witness community. And this is what he says. He says, "I'm embarrassed and ashamed of my actions. The attacks are indeed unprovoked and unacceptable. I wish I could go back in time and take it all back." Earlier this year, Starrett pleaded guilty to 4 counts of damage to religious property and 1 count of use of a firearm during a crime of violence. The prosecutor called Starrett a serial arsonist who hated the Jehovah's Witness community and spent months carrying out attacks. These were not crimes against buildings, but a series of attacks against a community and a faith, Assistant United States Attorney Jonas Lerman wrote in a sentencing memorandum. And he committed not just 1 attack, but he made 4 attacks. And the damage or destruction he caused terrorized the Jehovah's Witness community and threatened our nation's promise of religious liberty. So there's one of the pictures of the fire truck in front of a kingdom hall. And the motive for the attacks remains unclear, though investigators noted that Starrett was vocal about his animosity towards Jehovah's Witnesses. He described Jehovah's Witnesses as sleazy, as gangsters who were uninterested in serving the community. And Lerman's sentencing memo states that Starrett said Jehovah's Witnesses were trying to take over the world and wanted to do something about it. And he said that he wished they were all dead. Wow. Well, you know, he's not wrong in what he's describing. You know, when you think of covering up pedophilia, you know, you would come up with the word sleazy. That's sleazy, right? Covering that stuff up, allowing pedophiles to walk within the kingdom halls. I see, this article doesn't say this guy had any relationship or anything with the Jehovah's Witnesses. They're still looking for a motive. It goes on to he described them as gangsters. Well, if you ever get into an like it sounds to me like he's been involved, but none of this has come out. But if you get into an elders meeting, you have 3 bullies ganging up on you. It's a gangster. The elders book is designed for gangsters. The elders is a gangster. They gang up on you. And if you appeal it, there's 6 elders. They all gang up on a little girl, underage. That's what they do. That's gangsters. So he goes on to say they were uninterested in serving the community. He's not wrong. They do nothing with charity. They're not on the front lines. They're not helping orphans and widows. They take all this charity money and they print magazines. They build movie studios. They fly around and build kingdom halls and things like that. They do not help people. Jesus helped people. Jesus fed people. They do not help people. They like to mirror themselves after Jesus, but they don't feed people. Even with their disaster relief, it's not about getting onto the front lines, getting food and water to the people, not about opening the kingdom halls up and inviting neighbors and friends in and having, just cookouts like all the other churches are doing. We've been reading the comments, and this guy's not wrong. They don't serve the community. In fact, if there's a disaster in the community, the world headquarters says do not contribute to the local food banks and stuff. Contribute to us and put it in the box called worldwide work so that we can use it to fight CSA, to pay all our lawyers. We can use that money for whatever we want, and we don't have to tell you. You see, that's what they're doing, and that's why this guy is not wrong in calling them sleazy and gangsters. Starrett said the Jehovah's Witnesses were trying to take over the world. He's not wrong in saying that. That's what they're trying to do. The whole propaganda is that the whole world's burning up. It's all satanic, and they're walking out of the city. He's not wrong. This guy probably studied or something. I don't know. Maybe he's a little bit cuckoo upstairs here. But this is what can happen with this kind of indoctrination. People can't handle this. And so they're trying to take over. He's not wrong in saying that. And they wanted to do, and he wanted to do something about it. Now that's where he went wrong. He wanted to do something about it. The way he went about it, he could have talked about it. He could do what we're doing online. But we're going to take a look at what he did. And it's not the way to go, because all of these things have repercussions. Everything negative, everything that's not good, everything that's not upbuilding has repercussions. And this guy's faced it. Even though he's not wrong on some of his statements that he's made about Jehovah's Witnesses, there's repercussions to what he's done. We're going to look at that. Now, he said that he wished they were all dead. That's just a terrible statement. Obviously, something's not right upstairs. This is something that's never encouraged. Who says that? We love all of those people. I was once in there. So he would wish I was dead too, I guess, if I was still in there. You see, that's how I look at that. Now, the federal investigators executed search warrants on Starrett's internet history, and they found that he had researched the Kingdom Hall locations around Western Washington. You see, there's nothing saying that he studied or anything, So he just researched these Kingdom Halls. And Starrett's internet history also revealed the depth of his hostility toward Jehovah's Witnesses and Christianity more broadly. So this guy had it out for Christianity in general, but for some reason he had a depth of hostility towards Jehovah's Witnesses, a depth of it. Maybe they studied with them. I'm not sure. They're always trying to study with people. And they don't know who they're walking up to the door to study with. This is the dangerous thing. You got people that are not skilled, not trained, serving as ministers, little children serving as ministers. Now they're making 21-year-old boys circuit overseers. 18-year-old boys can start reaching out to be elders. This is crazy. Okay. Well, they couldn't find really anything to reveal, but he did have a history. So it doesn't explain the depth of his hostility, what it was, but there is something there. Now, it goes on to say, for example, Starrett conducted extensive searches for relevant information in the period before and after the attacks, including the phrases Jehovah's Witnesses refuse military service. So this bothers the guy. And it bothers a lot of governments. We just read a report of the one government that canceled them, as decitizenized Jehovah's Witnesses in the Netherlands. So this is, this is a thing. Jehovah's Witnesses refuse military service, but they stand on the back. They stand on the backs of the Christians out there fighting in war, because we all know when we read the Bible that war is all the way through the Bible, and the Bible says to obey the governments, work with your governments when it comes to good. So Jehovah's Witnesses do not work with the governments. They call the governments evil, wicked, part of Satan's system. And of course, they refuse military service, and they have their people go to jail. So this guy doesn't like it. He goes on to say the JW elders sexually assaulted eight girls over 4 decades. So he's bringing up some of the CSA, the hidden CSA. He knows about that. And then he says on how to destroy Christianity with one easy step video. So I guess that's something this guy's into. Okay, well, we're not into that on this channel, but I can speak for the Jehovah's Witness part, because I was a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years. So now at Fridays, and I was in these elders meetings with my underage daughter, and I appealed it, and of course there were 6 elders. So I have this experience behind me, and I know these things that he's saying is true. Now, at Friday's hearing, Starrett said that he is a changed man and he feels no more hatred toward the Jehovah's Witnesses. So that's a big turn of events. But that was 2018. Now we're 2024. It's 6 years later. He got caught. People usually change when they get caught. And he says, I was wrong. I regret what I did. What I did was un-American in the United States, and religious freedom is protected by the Constitution, he says. Sounds like this guy took on some counseling. Now, he goes on to start, said he was drinking heavily in 2018 and experienced a midlife crisis. So that can cause a lot of problems in a person. I can say that with experience. Now, although he says, I took great care to avoid physically hurting anybody, I had no right to destroy and damage Jehovah's Witness kingdom halls and offer my sincere remorse for the fear and the danger that my actions created, he said. So there's a picture of a kingdom hall in Olympia. And Starrett's attorney, Brian Hirschman, argued in court that Stewart had a viable defense and could have won the case had it gone to trial. So I thought that was an interesting statement, that he could have won the case. He had a viable defense. That's interesting. I wonder what it was. I guess we all wonder, eh? Now, he says we had a lot of work to do with. We did, and I commend Mikey for saying, no, I've got to take accountability for what I did and walk away from that staunch defense and take responsibility, Hirschman told KOMO News. So that's the lawyer saying what the client said. Mikey, I guess he calls him. He's taken accountability now, so he's flip-flopped. Something's happened. Now, the prosecutors asked Judge David Estudio to impose a sentence of 14 years, while Hirschman asked for a sentence of 7 years and 1 day. And after a brief court recess, Estudio imposed a 132-month sentence, 11 years, followed by 3 years of supervised release. This is just behavior and conduct that is just so serious that the law requires a serious punishment, Estudio said. And that's the end of the article. We're next going to look at the news. Okay, so next we're going to look at some pictures. There's 15 pictures that they had, and so there he is. There's a picture. I'm going to take myself off the screen. There's a picture of 2 fires that were set Monday at Jehovah's Witness centers in Olympia. These are the photos from the police department. And this next picture is images from the federal court filing showing the damage to a kingdom hall that was torched in Thurston County in 2018. So it even shows a picture there of a guy, a couple pictures. And the next one is the fire burns at Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness Church in Lacey, Como news fire photo. Then fire burns at Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witness Church in Lacey. This is some more. And this is just another one. Some more putting out the fires. Damage. These would have been all the stuff they showed in court, probably. Firefighters, you know, the expense. I think it said in there that he's going to have to pay this stuff, pay the costs all back when he gets out of jail. There's another one. Fire there. And there's one that we've seen already. Typical Kingdom Hall. Yeah, the cameras aren't real hot. Watchtower should get some better cameras. Here's another one. And that's it. That's all the Kingdom Hall. So we're going to go next to the news article. And it's right up here. I just read it, but we'll go right to the top. And then we'll run this news article. So I'll get off the screen here.
They did, and while they say they don't have resentment toward the man who attacked their Kingdom Halls, members of the Jehovah Witnesses did talk about the fear that these arson attacks and the shooting put in them when they were afraid to even gather with other members of their congregation. With the case now ended, one major question left unanswered is why it happened. Prosecutors called it an escalating campaign of violence against the Jehovah's Witnesses in Washington. 4 Kingdom Halls were burned or shot at in 2018. Now, the man in these surveillance videos, Mikey Sterrett, learning he will spend 11 years in federal prison.
We can't presume to know what triggered Mr. Sterrett to perpetrate these heinous crimes.
Eric Larson is one of the Jehovah's Witnesses who came to Sterrett's sentencing hearing in Tacoma.
I think there's a great sense of relief in our community that justice has been served.
Prosecutors say Sterrett spent months meticulously planning and carrying out the attacks.
As the judge said, it remains sort of a mystery why Mr. Sterrett has this hatred towards Jehovah's Witnesses, but he admitted under the plea agreement that that was the motivation.
Sterrett pleaded guilty to 4 hate crimes of damaging religious property and using a firearm in a crime of violence.
I think we could have won this case.
Attorney Brian Hirschman said Sterrett had options to take the case to trial and defend the charges, including the possibility of another suspect.
We had a lot to work with. We really did. And I commend Mikey for saying, no, I've got to take accountability for what I did and walk away from that staunch defense and plead guilty.
While the Kingdom Halls were rebuilt, prosecutors say the attacks irrevocably destroyed the sense of safety and peace that the house of worship is supposed to provide.
Because of our faith and our belief in the Bible, we're not surprised by acts of terror like this, even directed toward us. We hope that the sentence the judge handed down today will be reassuring to Jehovah's Witnesses.
Sterrett's friends told investigators that he made derogatory statements toward Jehovah's Witnesses, including calling them sleazy and gangsters. He will now head to federal prison for 11 years. He'll likely serve that time in California, and then he will have to pay restitution for the damage that was done. Reporting live in Tacoma, Jeremy Harris, Como News.
Okay, now, wow. What do you say to all of that? Well, the only thing I can do is say to all of you guys, anybody out there that's upset at JW.org, upset at the Kingdom Hall, it's upset at elders or any of that stuff, here's what we have been doing. Here's what I've been doing. And I've went through the upset period. And it is a period. It is a stage. When you leave a cult and you're shunned, you're ostracized, you're going to get upset. There's a stage till you accept it and move on. And here's a comforting scripture that I use. I like it. It's in Ephesians. Walk in love and be imitators of God as children. Walk in love as Christ walked in love. So verse 11 here, we'll focus in on that. It says, take no part in the unfruitful work of darkness. So what would that be? Well, you notice all the pictures of the fires were in darkness. They were, it happens at night. Take no part of that. It's bad. We don't want to do that. But here's what it says. It says, but instead, expose them. But instead, expose them. You notice that right here? Expose them. So who's them? Well, the Watchtower. You'd expose them. For what? Well, verse 12, it says, for it is shameful even to speak of the things that they do in secret. The Watchtower, what they do in secret, it's shameful if you know some of these things. And in verse 13 it says, but when anything is exposed by light, it becomes visible. So that's what we do on this channel. We expose the Watchtower for what it's doing. And that's what the scriptures say. It says, take no part in doing unfruitful things. We'll do protests. That's about it. Ours are more invites. Welcome, exJW friends. And that's what we encourage, a positive message. You see, I was once in there. I have family, friends, loved ones that are within the organization. It's just people, innocent people like me. They don't deserve to be harmed or their place of worship to be harmed. That's their right. But when we get out, there is an anger period when we're shunned and we have to deal with all of this. But how we can deal with it is talk therapy. So talk therapy is great. We don't hate anybody. We have to get out, accept the circumstances, talk about it, talk about what we endured, and then we become survivors. We're no longer victims. And that's what we do on this channel. We invite everyone on for talk therapy. We do that on Wednesday nights with Joe and Fran. It's a 4-hour show. We host it. We're in the background. And it's a great show. A lot of people are talking. And we have other lives where people can come on and talk. Talk therapy is great, so we encourage you all to be a part of that. And that's how we deal with these issues we have when we get out of the Watchtower. We don't do damage and violence. Stay away from that. That's unfruitful works of darkness. We do works of light, and that's exposing them. That's what the scriptures say. Clearly, it says that. Of the shameful things they do in secret. So, folks, what we do here on this channel is we keep living our life with, see that there, with love. And it's all over the place. It works. Life is all about love. If you want to follow anything, follow love. And love will lead you to a lot of cool places. So here in our mobile news shack, we're going to keep going. Our passports are almost in, not here yet, but we can do news anywhere in North America. Mobile. So thanks again for following us, and we will see you on the next video. Bye for now.